Small things add up. See, it wasn't the first or second or 10th or 100th cigarette that caused lung cancer to my father. But I can't say it wasn't the 100,000th, the 200,000th, whenever that happened, over time accumulating these bad decisions that happened with him. Stone Leg of Peace. I'm Coach Nyla, one of the authors of Let's Talk Polygyny Uncensored, as well as one of the founders of Outstanding Personal Relationships. And most people, again, just know me as Coach Nyla, the mindset coach to help men get their shit together. All right? So with that being said, I want to talk about something that's extremely important. One of the core principles of what separates men from boys. And if you've already seen any of my other trainings or different talks, I love to mentor men because I needed it. I didn't have a father who was present. He was there, but he wasn't really present. And even when he was present, he didn't necessarily have the tools or the resources to invest in me to get a positive return. It's quite the opposite, as a matter of fact. He was the person that gave me the perfect example of what not to do. So with that being said, one of the things I learned, and it's not a secret, it's well known, but just because something is common sense doesn't mean it's common practice. And as my great grandmother used to tell me when I was younger, when she used to bathe me in a big tin tub down south, in the U.S., she said, you know what? Common sense ain't all that common. And I didn't know. I'm single digits and everything at the time, but now I really understand the wisdom in that. But let's jump into it. What is that thing, right? That thing is self-discipline. Self-discipline. Having the ability to pause, think, and make the right, best decision at that time. That's how I'm going to define self-discipline. The ability to pause, think, and make the right, best decision at the moment or at that time. See, we love to see those who are disciplined. We love to watch movies, or we see the triumphs and the tragedies and all this type of stuff that happened. And we see the person who went through the grime and the toil, but then they decide to focus. I don't care if we're talking about the movie Creed or what it came from, the franchise it came from in Rocky, or you be looking at Lightning McQueen and seeing the ego go bad and you have to go somewhere and learn. If you have children, and as a father, you see these different movies and you recognize children's movies usually have the best storylines, whether it's Kung Fu Panda with Po, right? And have to build himself up. But self-discipline is what separates the men from the boys. That means you have the ability as a man to accept the responsibility to get things done. We're taught men are the protectors, right? They're the providers. They're the ones who exert personal power. And I talk about that, of course, with the 3 Ps. See, but in doing that, that doesn't mean you enjoy it necessarily. You might not enjoy having to get up 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. If you have a first shift job, you might need to be there at 5 or 6 a.m. before the sun comes up. Or you have to get out there and you have to shovel snow. You're doing something that you don't really enjoy doing. But you enjoy the results that come from it. The ability to take care of yourself, to buy the things you need to put a roof over your head, or take care of your family, or be a great example for your children or others. That is what makes a man. It's not that you're only pursuing things that bring you immediate pleasure. That doesn't make any sense, because with that, you just fall into a lot of addictions and a lot of distractions. And how much of that do we have in today's society? So on the flip side, what is the result of not having that self-discipline? We know, don't we? We could look outside. We can see the single-parent households. We can see those who are looking for men to guide them and lead them. We can look at communities that are in disarray, that have politicians that don't care. I mean, I come from and was born and raised in the Midwest, what's called New Jim Crow, or what I call at least the New Jim Crow. Not down south, but right up in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, which was rated by the New York Times, New York Post, or the Huffington Post as the worst place in the United States for Black people, Black men, women, and children on pretty much every single metric. So in income, they earn half of what white folks earn. We're living in areas that are extremely segregated, because Milwaukee is rated the most segregated city in the country for I think almost a dozen years now, something like that. All right, when it comes to employment, when it comes to healthcare, when it comes to incarceration, being ground zero for that. I remember there's an NPR story dealing with how in the city of Milwaukee, you have 5 times more likely to be convicted of a felony dealing with marijuana. First time it's a ticket. Second time it's a felony. And if you understand the system and the structure behind that, that goes right to the new Jim Crow by Michelle Alexander. If you haven't read it or haven't listened to it on audiobook, and you consider yourself to be a conscious person, or you consider yourself growing and want to understand the system, then that's mandatory reading. Now, I'm saying it's mandatory reading. You don't have to do it. It goes to self-discipline, doesn't it? We can also see other effects with our physical bodies. In the U.S., we are the fattest people on the planet. Fattest people on the planet, consume the most amount of energy on the planet, and we're number 1 in all kind of crazy stuff, right? Self-discipline. People who smoke cigarettes, my father, for example, he started smoking when he was 16 years old until he passed when he was 47, right? He smoked pretty much every single day of his life, several cigarettes, ingested many different toxins and poisons in his body. So he told me in June 2006, when he was diagnosed with cancer, he thought he had bronchitis, going to the doctor back and forth and taking different x-rays, and they finally said, hey, you stage 4 cancer. He told me in June. And he called me, he was kind of emotional. I met with him, and then that's when he broke it to me in person. Now me, I'm not that emotional expression of a guy where I'm like, oh my God, no. I really don't do that, right? So when he told me, I was astonished. I wasn't astonished at him being diagnosed with cancer. I was astonished that he was astonished. Like, how are you? Of course you got lung cancer. That's like no surprise. And it's level 4 or stage 4. So it's aggressive. It's been going on for quite some time. But I've known what you've been doing because I've been watching you as a child. I tried to start smoking my first cigarette when I was 5 years old, trying to copy my dad. I choked, didn't make any sense. Tried to get as a teenager. I'm like, this doesn't make any sense. It stains your teeth. I care about that. I'm liking girls, right? And I don't want my clothes and my hair smelling like smoke. But I tried. It didn't make any sense. He did it for decades. And he acted surprised when it happened. So going back to obesity now, over about 500,000 people die every single year from lung cancer and cigarette-related diseases? That's a lack of self-discipline. Now, we have the ability, the power to change it. Now, there's a process that goes with it and everything. Yes, there are some different addictions, but you know what? Self-discipline means you do not give yourself excuses. See, an excuse, as one of my mentors told me, is just a poor reason to be useless. You can sit back, make an excuse, and it only has to be good enough for you. If it's okay with you to sit and watch the internet and watch mindless games or play things and never really impact your life in a positive fashion on a daily basis, that's all you need. It made me feel good, so I just sat and binged on Netflix. Or, I decided to eat bacon because I'm not giving up bacon. I'm reminded of, I think, Doug Banks, former radio personality in the States. He said, I'm not giving up bacon. He went to the doctor, talked about his high cholesterol and his veins, but he said, I'm not giving up my bacon. Several months later, my man had a massive heart attack and died. You know what I'm saying? Self-discipline. We have the ability to act. So wherever you are in your life right now, my mentor told me this. He was like, listen, Nazir, wherever you are right now in your life, and we were talking business, and I'm like, I want to get entrepreneurship, I want to do this and that. He said, look, wherever you are right now in your life, you made a decision to be here 5 years ago. Now I looked at him like, nah, man, I'm broke right now. I'm trying to do this. I'm trying to do stuff for my family. I have some daughters, young daughters and stuff. And he's like, oh, you chose to be here. He said, if you don't have $300 in your account, and I was looking at investing in something at about $300. He said, if you don't have $300 in your account, you made these decisions over the last 5 years to not have $300 in your account because you could have read books, right? I mean, how much does a library card cost anyway? Oh, it's free. Okay, I thought it was pretty expensive. But sometimes we don't appreciate free 99. So he told me, you made a decision to be here. So the question is, what decision are you making over the next 5 years should you be gifted to last that long? And I read a quote on procrastination. It went along the lines of, procrastination is having the audacity to think that God owes you another day to do what he gave you the ability to do right now. Self-discipline means you don't feel like getting up, getting to the gym. Cool. Utilize gravity though. Get up, hit the ground, do some push-ups, do some air squats, walk. Self-discipline means, you know what? I know better, so therefore I must do better. See, many times it's not that we don't know better. It's just that we don't do what we know. So give it a kind word to our wives, kind word to our children, kind word to ourselves. Because if we haven't been practicing self-discipline, okay, we can change that immediately right now. If I'm not feeling well, I can drink more water. I can decide, put the soda to the side. Don't smoke the cigarette. Don't put poisons in my body. We can make the decision right now on small things, and those small things add up. See, it wasn't the first or second or 10th or 100th cigarette that caused lung cancer to my father. But I can't say it wasn't the 100,000th, the 200,000th, whenever that happened, over time accumulating these bad decisions that happened with him. Right? Now, even if that's not the direct cause of death of someone, the quality of life it absolutely affected. How many tens of thousands of dollars was spent on cigarettes that could have went to his family? That could have went to investing in more good times and moments, or good ways of taking care of us as children. See, but a man is going to make a distinction from a boy and evaluate these types of things if they have the tools to do so. So that's what I want to share with you. It's not a secret. So what are you doing right now in your life that is not serving you? What can you do? What discipline can you implement now to change it on a small scale, to make you feel a little bit better, to put you on a better path to get a better result? What is it? Think about it. Put it down. Then do something about it. Get your shift together. That's crucial. Get your shift together, because it starts right here in your mind and it manifests outside in reality. And the last thing I'm going to leave you with, and you'll hear me say it more and more, I don't want you to shit all over yourself. Stop shitting all over yourself. That's not a sign of discipline. That's a sign you know what to do, but you're just not doing it. And you know what I mean, shitting all over yourself. People do it all the time, right? No, I should do this. I should do that. Oh, no, I should have did this. Oh, man. And they regret and they go on and what they should have did. Don't shit all over yourself. If you've been doing it, stop it. Stop it. The way you stop it is with action. All right, so take action. That changes everything. Start small with your ripple effect and go from there. Of course, you want more information, links in the description, everything below what we do. Remember, I'm Coach Nazir, and I help men get their shift together. With that, I'm going to remind you that a wish changes nothing, but a decision changes everything. So decide. Assalamu alaikum. Peace.
We are also the authors of the new ebook, The Polygamy Roadmap. Two different roadmaps, one specifically for men and the other
for women.
Naturally. So no matter where somebody is in their journey, whether they're considering it and what's required, especially men I'm talking to, I share the 5 requisites on really what it takes to build a healthy, successful polygynous family unit. So with that being said, make sure if you're a man and if you're serious, not just curious, you take action and get it today.
And in the women's polygamy roadmap, we talk about the different feelings that women might go through with emotions of fear, challenge, betrayal, jealousy.
Yes, and we give you some good insight as well as tips, anecdotes, as well as some of our stories of struggle in the polygamy roadmap too for women. And you will find out really how to have a type of confidence in yourself after reading this. I'm truly, truly in the mindset that you would anyway.
Indeed. So do what you got to do. And that means go to polygamyroadmap.com, grab your copy. We look forward to you benefiting from it and joining us in our private community. With that being said, Assalamu alaikum.
Peace.